Oh, I see you've moved on to Halo Infinite. That's exciting. Everyone go say hello to Low Base Guy, even though Dark has already shouted him out, which is fantastic, and I appreciate you, Dark. You're wonderful, but Low Base, you're wonderful as well. Creator of the web Twitch team, which is designed by creatives for creatives, and you should go check us out, especially if you're a creative person, but you don't have to be. I don't consider myself a creative person, and I'm part of it anyways. Low Base, how you doing today? I'm back to my comfortable mouse and keyboard. Nice. That is excellent. What do you think of Infinite? That's the newest one, right? Like the open world-ish one. I feel like I played a couple hours into it, but it just didn't grip me like the other games did. Also, did you play Reach through your playthrough of all the Halo games? Or did you skip that one? And Dark, how are you doing tonight, my friend? Hope you're doing wonderful. How was your weekend? Were you around for Sethosaur's 13-hour nonsense stream? Doing pretty good tonight. I was just playing a little Resident Evil 6 for fun. I'm in the mood to shoot zombies and all. Nice. But overall, it has been a cozy Sunday. Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. Cozy Sundays are wonderful. I had a great weekend. I took some time off of work finally and just relaxed, hung out with Dream. We had a very lazy Sunday or weekend. It was awesome. We literally just sat on the couch doing nothing all weekend. It was awesome. I haven't had a weekend like that in a very long time. You skipped Reach. Reach is probably my favorite Halo game, so I absolutely think that you should go back and play it after you're done with Infinite. Anyways, today we are going to be getting back into Pathfinder. I really enjoyed playing Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. That was so much fun, and I'd recommend that you guys check that out, especially since it's only $30. I mean, if it was a $60 game, I would say, slow down a little bit, but it's $30 and it's very fun, especially if you like aerial combat, like Crimson Skies back on the Xbox. That's what it felt like, and that was awesome. Anyways, like I said, we are going to be playing some Pathfinder today, Pathfinder Kingmaker, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really thoroughly enjoying this game. I am very excited to get back into Baldur's Gate when we get a chance, because patch 7 just came out and there's a whole bunch of new changes and game improvements, so I want to check those out very quickly. But I'm more than okay with just playing this until we get the time to do that, because I'm loving this game. This is a lot of fun. The story so far isn't as good as Pillars of Eternity, but the gameplay, I feel, is a little bit, I don't know, more consistent, I guess. Minus the glitches. I know we've run into some glitches so far, but hopefully those start to pan out. Oh, that's right. We left off. We're in this weird swamp area. What are we trying to do here? Old Oak. This is Old Oak. We don't even know what we're doing here. We're just exploring. We had no clue what was happening, and there's just nothing here. Okay, well, went there to kill a troll, I guess. Good stuff, good stuff. Am I trying to go anywhere in particular? I had a plan. I feel like I was trying to get back to Oleg's, but I don't really remember why. Oh, to go talk to Jhod. Because we can't kill Tuskgutter yet, or at least she wants to do it by herself, so I'm not risking it. Yeah, I guess we're just going to go back and talk to him. And then probably go to, like, Nettle's Crossing or something? I don't even know. We'll see what Jhod has to say. Yes, I want to rest. I thought I just rested, but I guess I have been traveling for a little bit. Let's do maintain armor and have him help with perception.
Harem, do you really prefer to feel insignificant? Like your whole life is useless?
Do I like it, Does that matter? All that matters is that this is the truth, little storyteller. I came to learn the truth, I humbly accepted it, and now I share it with others. Yet you keep consoling yourself with shallow tales of hope.
Alrighty. There's goblins somewhere. There they are. Well. Ooh, that was good. And then... Alright. Nice and easy. Steelyx is now fully recovered. He's off his meds, so that's a plus. With a delighted smile, Octavia inhales the smell coming from the Oleg's trading post. Fresh bread, I can't believe it. All this time that we sat in cages and crawled in the mud, there were places in the world where they were baking fresh bread. And here we are. I bet they have clean sheets. And maybe we could even take a bath? A girl could dream. Yeah, get some rest. You can be sure of that. I've got years of rest to catch up on, and I'll be stuffing my face until I turn into a ball. You do so much for us. Is it all because you are kind? Or maybe the half-elf smiles flirtatiously. Maybe it's because you've been charmed by my beauty. Hey, studio, welcome in. Everyone go say hello to RTFX Studio. If I can type today, that would be a good start. There we go. And go check out the awesome game about her cat that she created. I'm taking care of you because you're in my party now. We'll have to save each other in battle more than once. Forget about fighting for a moment. We all need a break, especially you. All right, enough talk. Fresh bread and clean sheets await. All right, where are all these folks? Not a huge fan of Disney. I don't hear that very often. They just released a new Punk Goes Disney album, and I'm midway through listening to it. It's excellent. More of a Ghibli anime person. Fair. Absolutely fair. I don't think I need anything from Bakken, but I am going to sell to him. So using a scorpion shell to kill one jackal. Overkill or no? No, never.
How may I serve you?
I found the Temple of the Elk and killed the beasts there.
Erastil be praised, you finally returned, my good friend. Tristian told me how you helped him at the Temple of the Elk. Thank you for heeding my request. My heart is calm and filled with confidence that I've followed the will of my God. I would like to reward your bravery. I possess no treasure, but please, take this as a token of appreciation.
A huge rock surrounded by the forest with the head of an immense elk carved out of it. At the foot of the rock lies what was once an impressive shrine dedicated to the god Eristil.
As far as I know, your next target looks to be the Stag Lord himself. With the Temple of the Elk cleansed of evil, the fog surrounding us should disperse to reveal the path to the brute's lair. Of course, magic so powerful is unlikely to disappear all at once. Bide your time. Follow up on other concerns while you wait. I will gladly aid you on your noble quest. Erastil himself foresaw our meeting.
Jhod bows piously. Do you understand the true meaning of your visions now?
I trust in their truth. These visions, they were the voice of Erastil himself. Quiet but clear. Before all this happened, I believed Erastil had turned his back to me. But now, I see clearly. He has shown me divine mercy, for he has led me to you and invited me to aid in a fellow priest's deliverance. Lady Sarenrae and Erastil walk the paths of the gods hand in hand, and so must their servants as well. Tristian is undoubtedly still very young, and youth is a time of naivete and confusion. But I see kindness and strength of spirit in him, traits indispensable to a priest. I sense that all that's transpired thus far is only the beginning, and the future promises great things for Tristian and for you. This is why Erastil led me to the Temple of the Elk. Day and night I pray for you and for my young friend. May the stag god lead you down the true path.
I like how the red panda's just doing, like, somersaults and cartwheels in the top there. That's enough about this for now.
As you wish.
Alright, I think I have 3 new characters I gotta catch up with, so we'll start with Tristian, who smiles as we approach. Greetings. How may this humble chosen of the great Sarenrae help you? Well, tell me about yourself. About myself? I wouldn't know where to begin. Tristian pauses for a moment in thought. You know my name, my faith. I follow Sarenrae, and I have traveled from the Padishah Empire of Kalesh to here. What else do you want to know? The vast Padishah Empire of Kalesh dominates much of south-central Kazmaran. It grew during the Age of Destiny, and its line of emperors has been unbroken for thousands of years. Half a dozen satrapies the size of countries separate Kadira from the imperial heartland of Kalesh. Each satrapy pays homage to the decrees of the empire, but the grip of the empire is looser the further one goes from its heart. Forgive me, but from your manner and appearance, you don't strike me as a Kaleshite. Tristian smiles softly. You have nothing to apologize for. Truly, I have received my name and appearance from my parents, who had come to Kalesh from afar. I never knew them, for the fate had separated us when I was young, so I grew up in Kalesh, raised by the followers of Sarenrae. My home is where my heart is, within the temples of the great goddess, among the wise and generous men that took upon themselves the care of a child that was so unlike them. I learned mercy and patience at an early age, and it is these virtues that have made me the man I am today. Do you know where you're going next? No, my thoughts were far from it, for my mission here is not done yet. Tristian stares at you in surprise. Why do you ask? Do you wish me to leave your lands? Oh, of course not. You're my comrade in arms, and I trust you. Tristian's face lights up. Thank you. I am pleased I could be of assistance. Does being outside of the temple make you uncomfortable? Tristian shakes his head. There are many ways to honor one's gods, Davos. It is true, shrines play a role in the lives of many of the faithful, but even more find other ways to serve Sarenrae. The healing light values good deeds above all else. I cannot stand by and watch evil claim others. Tristian thinks for a moment, then raises an eyebrow. Perhaps that is another reason why I chose to go on my pilgrimage, leaving behind the temples of Kalesh. Tristian touches his chest. My faith is in my heart, and in my hands. Millions honor Sarenrae in her temples, and my soul is filled with joy when I think of their devotion to the goddess. Nevertheless, my path is a different one. So do you enjoy traveling? Tristian nods, his eyes light up. Oh yes. No library and no archive, however large, would ever have allowed me to learn as much of the world as I have in my journeys. It was only outside the temple walls I realized every living being is a world unto themselves, a world where many contradictions and passions coexist. Each realm leaves its mark on the lives that live there. Only by visiting it, by breathing the same air, walking on the same soil, can you understand its people, what drives them, what frightens them, their dreams, and how they honor their gods. Tristian lowers his head. Forgive me if my stories have bored you. I am not accustomed to speaking about myself and, in truth, take little enjoyment in it. So tell me about Sarenrae. Sarenrae is the goddess of temperance and patience. Solar flame goddess teaches us compassion for the weary and mercy to those who go astray. What would you like to know of her? Tell me about the history of your faith. There is much to tell, but I'm afraid I would miss the mark, and I fear I would bore you. Is there something specific you wish to know? How did Sarenrae come to be? Sarenrae is one of Galarian's eldest deities. Once she was an angel that had gathered the armies of her celestial allies behind her. The battle in which she showed her valor decided the fate of a whole world, and in her victory, she was rewarded with divinity. In the sacred texts, Sarenrae is shown as a beautiful bronze-skinned maiden, her hair dancing in flame. Tristian smiles slightly. But her appearance is not what matters. It is the grace she brings with her touch, healing, and salvation. Tell me more about this battle you mentioned. What was the act of valor of Sarenrae? Her greatest moment of glory is her battle against the monstrous Regongar, who threatened to destroy Galarian. Sarenrae delivered the strike that staggered the horrendous creature, and allowed her allies to shackle it. Once the rough beast was captured, the goddess split the earth, and the gods threw the behemoth into the depths. Once it was done, the goddess sealed the pit, and commanded her faithful to stay away from the scar that was left in the land. I'm curious about this because someone else mentioned it earlier and it sounds terrifying. Imprisoned since the age of creation, the god Regongar, also known as the Rough Beast, the Great Destroyer, and the World Breaker, seeks only to destroy creation and the other gods. Believed to be imprisoned in a state of torpor somewhere deep within Galarian, his increasingly restless stirrings are taken by many to be the cause of volcanic activity and earthquakes. His worshippers are known for embodying the god's dominion over destruction, disaster, and wrath. Cute. Tristian falls silent for a few moments. Alas, mortal beings are imperfect. Not even the most faithful among us can always follow their deity's commandments, even when such commandments are meant to save the world and their followers. I, for one, pray the goddess is never again as furious as she was with Gormuz, misinterpreting their goddess's warnings to avoid its location, instead believing Gormuz to be a holy city of Sarenrae. People from all over Khazmaran flocked there for millennia, but were slowly corrupted by the imprisoned god Rovagug's dreams. Severnray continued sending portents and visions to her faithful in Gormuz during this period, but they were ignored or misinterpreted. She finally sent her Herald Kohal to the people of Gormuz in negative 3923 AR, but they had been so corrupted that they destroyed him instead. In an act of great wrath, Severnray smote Gormuz with her scimitar, destroying it completely and creating an enormous rent in the earth that eventually became known as the Pit of Gormuz. From this great chasm have emerged some of the most powerful and destructive creatures in the world's history, known collectively as the Spawn of Rovagug. Tell me more about Gormuz. Tristian sighs. An error of faith, perhaps a lesson, but it speaks of the danger when one listens to mortal words and one stops listening to their faith. Severnray forbade her followers from coming near the place of Rovagug's imprisonment, but some of her priesthood misread her will and began to preach of a sacred place where the mightiest of temples dedicated to the goddess were to be constructed. The people listened to these sermons and went forth to the lands touched by Severnray's scimitar. On the scar that sealed the well, they founded Gormuz, a holy city that was to become the greatest monument to Severnray. Unsurprisingly, after the city was built, faithful from all Golarion traveled there to worship. Severnray sent omens and visions, urging her followers to leave the dangerous place filled with the dark will of the shackled Rovagug. But in their pride, the people misinterpreted or ignored her signs altogether, for they had already come under Rovagug's influence. Finally, the goddess sent her herald to the city, but the fanatics killed him. Realizing the people had turned from her, the enraged goddess smote Gormuz, razing it from the face of Golarion with a single strike of her scimitar. Tristian shakes his head. Today, it is called the Pit of Gormuz, a well of pain and suffering. Pit of Gormuz is a 20-mile-wide chasm located in the windswept wastes of eastern Khazmaran. Over thousands of years, a dozen spawn of Rovagug have emerged from the pit to threaten Golarion, and legends tell that the god Rovagug himself is bound at the bottom of the pit in time immemorial. Tell me more about the pit. Tristian shakes his head. It's a great crevice in eastern Khazmaran. The lands surrounding it are dead, soaked in poison. The Pit of Gormuz seems bottomless, until someone dares to gaze into its depths. All who have dared tell of a strange, distant glow, a glow that followed them in their dreams ever since. Khazmaran is the large continent to the east of both Avestan and Garund. It is dominated politically by the Empire of Kalesh, a vast realm that extends even into Avestan. Kadira is its westernmost satrapy. Throughout all of history, the Pit of Gormuz has spawned creatures, hideous beasts of overwhelming power and driven by only a single desire, to destroy everything they see. Some were defeated, such as the nightmarish Ulanat, whose carapace to this day towers above the capital of Osirian. Others proved too strong to be defeated by mortal hands. Tristian frowns. The most terrible of them all was the Tarask, the Armageddon engine, who to this day lies dormant deep beneath Avestan. One of the first civilizations to rise in the wake of Earthfall, Osirian is also one of the greatest empires in the history of Golarion, a nation of great knowledge, wealth, and power. This ancient land harbors pyramids, mummies, terrible curses, and endless sands, as well as a culture steeped in proud traditions, devout respect for the gods, dedication to communal service, and unswerving devotion to its rulers. Osirian today is just emerging from millennia of Kelishite rule and regaining the legacy of the pharaohs supplanted by these foreign oppressors. Have wars ever been waged in Severnray's name? Tristian sighs. Alas, yes. Terrible battles were once fought between the followers of Nethys, Norgobur, and Severnray, in the lands now known as Rahadum. To my shame, I must admit that this conflict was started by my brothers and sisters. They came to a foreign land to make way for the goddess's light with sword and fire. Nethys, also known as the All-Seeing Eye, is a Garundi god who holds knowledge and magic above all things. He gained enough power to witness all things, and this both fueled his divinity and shattered his mind. He is a god of magic, torn between destroying the world with one hand and saving it with the other. It's my kind of guy right there. Norgobur, is known as the once mortal god of thievery and assassination, as well as a keeper of secrets. He is called the Reaper of the Reputation by some, but he has more insidious titles among worshippers who venerate his other three aspects: Blackfingers, Father Skinsaw, and the Grey Master. He remains an enigma to most, and his true motives are unknown. Many of his own followers remain ignorant of his plans and designs. Norgabur is the only evil god amongst the Ascended. The nation of Rahadum in northwestern Garund is unusual in that it is the only nation known to have forbidden the practice of any and all religions in the wake of the Oath Wars, which raged centuries ago between the faiths of Nethys, Norgabur, and Serenray. Wow, it was so bad they were like, nope, no one's worshipping anything anymore. The calamity became known as the Oath Wars, a catastrophe that led the inheritors of Rahadum to deny all gods, banning all faiths from their lands. Alas, the mortal vessel is imperfect, and even a pure faith may be distorted by blind ambition. Tristian goes silent for a moment. And great suffering may occur in its name. What are the teachings of Serenray? Solar Flame Goddess is the light of salvation, even to those who have been forsaken by the other gods. She teaches us mercy and forgiveness, for as long as they may be useful to a soul's salvation. Are there any undeserving of mercy? Tristian blindly gazes past you into the distance for several moments. When he speaks again, his voice is quiet, reflective, as if echoing his thoughts. Undeserving of mercy. Would even Serenray herself find the compassion to... Tristian shudders as if awakening from a trance. Forgive me, your words, they... not as easy to reconcile. And even priests such as I... we debate them to this day. What is the point at which a soul is irredeemable? Or is it a failing of the priest themselves? These are difficult questions you ask, Davos. Questions wise men have debated for centuries. Does a being that has been tainted by evil to its very roots, that rejects its own salvation, still deserve compassion? Can those compelled to do evil by others still seek forgiveness? There is no easy answers on these issues among Serenray's followers. As for me, I believe that every soul carries the potential for goodness within. No matter the crime, the guilty may find forgiveness if they repent and cast off the evil that led to the deed. I believe this with all my heart, Davos. Whew. Yeah, I can't agree with that. There are certainly crimes that cannot go unpunished. Tristian folds his arms. What is of greater importance? A living soul or the laws of nations? One's salvation or observance of rules? Know that I hold you in high esteem, but it is difficult for me to agree with you on this issue. You make it sound like the followers of Serenray will try to find good even in a bandit with a knife to their throat. Do not mistake compassion for weakness, Davos. One hand of Serenray is shrouded in healing light. The other holds a scimitar. Following their goddess, the priests learn to wield this weapon starting in childhood, and they do not hesitate to use it if a dispute cannot be settled peacefully. Serenray preaches mercy, yet her compassion is not infinite. We give a second chance to all who ask, but if they reject it, if they persist in their sins, they will face the goddess's retribution. Alright, I like that a little bit better. What are your duties as a follower of Serenray? My goddess strives to see the best, even in the dark gods. She never abandons the hope of their redemption. The priests of Serenray follow her teachings, akin to the healing light herself, who emanates warmth and heeds the call of those in need. We aid the suffering in body and spirit throughout Galarian. The priests of Serenray are willing to help anyone, no matter the faith of the one in need. Each plea must be heard. Every misfortune deserves compassion, be it a pleasant seeking of blessing for the harvest, or a murderer seeking repentance the night before their execution. Sometimes the mercy of Solar Flame Goddess is the last thing that can save one's soul from ruin. We have no right to withhold it from the truly repentant. So how is Serenray worshipped? Many worship Solar Flame Goddess in her temples. Some make the pilgrimage to the Everlight Oasis. But even those who do not serve the goddess directly rarely shun the festivities dedicated to her. The Sunwrought Festival, for one. Tell me of the Everlight Oasis. I have never been there, but the stories say it's a wonderful place, sacred to Serenray's faithful. The oasis is located in Zelshabar, which lies in Kazmaran. Pilgrims from throughout Galarian travel there, seeking the goddess's blessing. Zelshabar is a satrapy of the Empire of Kalesh, situated on the edge of the Empire's imperial lands. Its claim to fame is that it is the location of the Everlight Oasis, a site of pilgrimage for followers of Serenray. According to legend, the waters of the Everlight Oasis are imbued with healing properties, and anyone who bathes in them shall be cured of any ailment. Tristian smiles in thought. Just imagine, a place where people from all around the world come to gather to worship. What stories they must share. A holy site for followers of Serenray, the Everlight Oasis is situated in Zelshabar, a satrapy of the Empire of Kalesh in Casmaran. The oasis is said to have healing and rejuvenating qualities, and followers of the Sun Goddess come from far and wide to bathe in the water and to commune with fellow members of the faith from other lands. Unfortunately, with the pilgrims come those who wish to prey upon them, and some of them end up robbed or beaten or worse. Jeez. What are the temples of Serenray like? Serenray's shrines are often open to the sky and to the goddess's life-bringing sunlight. Her light fills the temple, enshrouds the parish in warmth, and grants it blessing to all in need. In Kalesh, crowds gather during the services so that all may feel the blessing of the goddess. The most ingenious devices are constructed by some of the faithful to please the goddess. I've seen a temple of Serenray which housed a complicated array of mirrors, all to direct the light of the sun to the altar. That's cool. What is this Sunrot Festival? The Sunrot Festival takes place on the day of the summer solstice, when the prayers of her flock can reach Serenray the easiest. On this day, Kalesh blooms with color. In each corner of the Padishah Empire, the people praise their goddess by dancing and singing, setting off fireworks and flying kites. I hope this beautiful custom shall one day reach your lands as well, Davos. I hope I have satisfied your curiosity. I think I've heard enough. If you ever wish to know more about the goddess, just ask. So you called yourself the Chosen of Serenray. What did you mean by that? Sorry, that was a mere jest. Other acolytes at my temple used to tease me with that title. This should tell you how pious and devoted I was compared to them. And yet, my faith is strong. Serenray knows this and protects me in times of great peril. If something ever threatens my life, by her divine powers, I am transported to a safe location. And what exactly brought you to these lands? I've heard rumors. They say these lands are cursed, and the curses are growing stronger, as if something is granting them power. I could not ignore such rumors. What curses are you talking about? Tristian cocks his head to the side in wonder. Do you not see? Every word uttered in the heat of an argument turns into a prophecy here, just waiting to fulfill itself. And if it were only for the people, the land itself is seething with curses, so ancient their origins are impossible to trace. Take the abandoned temple of Aristil, where we met. What happened to it? What force compelled the priests to leave such a magnificent temple behind to the whims of nature? Will we ever know? I myself was nearly slain by beasts. Fortunately, you came along, following Jhod, and saved me. I owe you a great debt. So what do you think the future holds for these lands? These are cruel lands. As I came here, I bore witness to much pain and suffering, but I have seen equal kindness among those seeking to protect themselves and their loved ones. The people of the Stolen Lands are resolute and true to themselves. I admire their strength. Alas, I do not know yet what powers the curses that flourish in this land, but I swear I will not leave until we have the answer and the means to cleanse them. You must forgive me for not swearing on Serenray's name, but as of late I have troubled the goddess too much as it is, and it would better serve her through action, not prayer. So why did Jhod see you in his premonition? Serenray sees all the good gods and goddesses as her allies. Many have fought alongside the goddess against the menace of Rovagug, Aristil among them. By offering my prayer to Serenray, I let her know of my misfortune in the Temple of the Elk. The merciful goddess did not ignore my plea. But whom could have she asked for aid than Aristil, whose faith is strong in these lands? Aristil sent Jhod a sign, and you came just in time to rescue me. Tristian sighs. To tell the truth, I was certain my journey was at an end, and those creatures were to be the death of me. You've come a great distance indeed, Tristian laughs heartily. When you look at it that way, then yes, but please, do not think that I came all the way from Kalesh because of mere curiosity. I was wandering long before that. It is a custom of our faith. The farther our paths take us, the more people we may help. I should get going. Tristian bows his head. A pleasure. Okay, he was almost as talkative as, Lindsay. Almost. Not quite. There you are. Oh, hello! Octavia gives you a fetching smile. Something you need? Will you tell me about your life in slavery? That's a very direct question. I don't like to recall it, but if you insist, Octavia says with a frown. The slavers from the Technic League tried to ruin my life, but all they could do was ruin my childhood. Did you have many masters over the years? Yes, many of them. Some owned me for years, others felt they'd had enough of me in a couple months. Trust me, I did all I could to make every master eager to get rid of me. A slave that's trained in magic is a rather expensive thing, so they wouldn't kill me. At least, that was the hope. So I drooled and played an idiot, and I listened as every new master argued with my former one, trying to return me. Sometimes I punctured the pages of magic books I was forced to copy with a quill. Other times I pretended to mix up the spells, so instead of lighting a magic torch, I set dozens of dancing lights floating just below the ceiling. Of course, most of these tricks of mine usually ended badly. I got punished on a regular basis. My back still remembers the master's whips, though all my scars from those times are long gone. Where did you learn to use magic? Oh, I was taught magic by Janish of Starfall, one of the most famous of wizards in Numeria. Maestro Janush, as he insisted on calling himself. Octavia's voice overflows with contemptuous sarcasm. Anyone would be happy to learn from such a great master, and only a talentless bitch like me would dare to reject his teachings and indulge in her laziness. Starfall is a city just as brutal and as harsh as the unforgiving Numerian land that it is capital of. The place is a mockery of the soft capitals of the south, with a level of decadence which would put even Taldor to shame. This decadence is surrounded by the filthy reek of human misery. Here, the Black Sovereign Kevith Cole rules at the whim of the Technic League, while the rest of the city suffers under his harsh rule. At least, that's what Maestro Janush used to repeat constantly, while whipping knowledge into my back. The great Maestro was a big fan of punishment. Octavia's lips press into a thin line. The Technic League didn't care if a few slaves died under the Master's whip, as long as Maestro Janush provided an arcane-trained one in return. Officially, there's no slavery in Numeria, but the Technic League is above any law. A slave with an aptitude for the arcane is worth much more than a regular one. The slave's repertoire is limited to the simplest and safest spells. Of course. You ever tried to run away? What a silly question. Of course I tried. As soon as we saw even the tiniest opportunity to get free, Reg and I grabbed for it. On one occasion, we jumped from the cart into the river. There was a time when we spent weeks trying to dismantle the far wall of the barracks and make a path out. Sometimes we attacked our guards when they least expected it. We craved freedom. We lived only to dream about it. Those short days, sometimes weeks that we spent on the run, were the happiest days of my life. We used to hide in the woods, or blend in with the crowd on the streets of Starfall. Midnight stars were our guiding lights, and we shared our dream with them, to reach the river kingdoms. For in these lands, there were neither slaves nor masters. We were starving and freezing, but that was the real life. Too bad it usually ended too soon. The Technic League agents always found us in the end. I don't know how they managed to do it. They probably used magic, or maybe it was just our fate. They whipped us and returned us to our old masters, or sold us to new ones, if the old ones refused to pay. So we were slaves again. But the dream about the River Kingdoms never left our hearts. How did you happen to find yourself in the Stolen Lands? My enslavers from the Technic League funded a large expedition into the Stolen Lands. 100 agents, tens of slaves, wagons. We were to search for some ancient artifacts, or ancient ruins, Octavia shrugs. Our group never made it to the Technic League hideout. Along the way, it was attacked by the future owner of the Stolen Lands himself, and I'll be forever grateful to him for it. Octavia winks cheerfully. I feel like this is a stupid question, considering what she's already said, but have your masters ever hurt you? You figured that out, didn't you? Octavia narrows her eyes. Or maybe you want to hear all about the beatings I survived, the humiliations I've endured. Imagine the worst thing one person can do to another, and multiply it tenfold. That's what happened to me nearly every day in slavery. Masters. Oh, how I hate that word. Octavia shakes her head furiously, making her locks dance. They punished me because they wanted to hurt me. But what hurt even more was the mere fact of their existence. Yeah, sorry for asking. Let's change the subject. Octavia stops you, gently touching your hand. Wait, I want to tell you. She sighs and shakes her head, as if trying to collect her thoughts. The Technic League agents you rescued us from. Reg and I have tried to run away many times, but they always manage to find us eventually. I have no reason to hope that this time they've lost track of us for good. Yeah, I'm not going to let a bunch of filthy slave traders take you again. I'm inviting them to try. Yes, we'll chase them to the border. We won't see them through the dust. Suddenly, she frowns in contemplation, twirling her locks. Still, I'd like to find them first. It's amazing after all your hardships, you, still remain so cheerful and optimistic. Octavia's smile fades a little. I try not to view my life as a never-ending course of sufferings. Yes, I've had my share of hard times, but do I need to recall them? After all, along with the bad things, I had some good things as well. I had a dream and I followed it, and eventually it came true. Following that path, I met Reg, and you. Now I'm free, and surrounded by friends. Octavia's voice trembles with hidden emotions, but her smile remains warm and sincere. Could you tell me about your childhood, please? Octavia sighs. Too little. Some scraps of memories, no more than that. What do you remember? Octavia reflects on that, tapping her finger against her cheek. Nothing special, some images of a faraway past, that's all. I do remember wooden table legs. The paint on them was peeling off, and I was standing on my toes trying to peek at what was on the table. I remember the wild rose by the window. It kept me up at night, scratching the glass with its gnarled branchlets. I remember my mother's blue dress. It was a trifle battered, but it smelled of lavender. Octavia wrinkles her forehead. I guess that's all. Not much there, right? All those memories. It's like they're not mine at all. I recall some images, and I know I should feel something about them, but I don't remember what exactly I should feel. So, let them rot in a swamp with tatzelworms. Octavia grins cheerfully. My life's good enough without them. Is that all you remember about your parents? You're a half-elf, right? Am I? Octavia examines herself as if seeing herself for the first time. You know, I think you might be right. I'm rather slim and tall, and I can see well in dim light. She raises her hand and touches her ears. Aha! They're a bit pointy. Yes, I'm definitely a half-elf. Let's think about that logically. So my mother was an elf, and my father was a human. Or maybe it was the other way around. My mother was a... Finally, Octavia can't take it anymore and bursts into laughter, having spoiled her own act. So that's it. Now you know as much about my parents as I do, she says after her laughter subsides. Great. Well, being unable to recall your childhood must suck. Oh, I recall my childhood in rather bright details. It was spent in a dirty barracks. I wore flea-infested rags and slept on a straw mattress instead of a proper bed. Octavia smiles humorlessly. Though, I understand what you mean. You know, to be honest, I'm not sure I want to remember my childhood before slavery. If I could remember what I lost, it would probably just bring me more pain. Octavia shakes her head several times and makes herself smile again, so it's good that I don't remember much of anything. Do you remember how you were enslaved? I clearly remember the man who took me away from my home. He was big with a huge potbelly and shaggy beard. I was afraid he would eat me. Octavia shrugs. Anyway, he didn't stay with me long. He gave me to his slaver accomplices, and I never saw him again. When my mother was giving me to him, she was crying. I can still barely hear her quiet voice, but I can't recall her words or her face behind the tears. Just that lavender smell. It tickled my nose, and I wanted to sneeze. Did my mother sell me into slavery? But then, why was she crying? And if she didn't want me to be a slave, why didn't she try to save me? Octavia twirls her hair, pondering over the thought, then sighs. One more riddle from my past that I don't care to solve. So do you worship Callistria? Yes. Many slaves survived only on thanks to their faith. Some lived hoping for a day when a good deity would deliver them. Some even offered deals to the evil gods, but me and Reg, Callistria has taught us the most important things. Expect no gifts from above. Rely on ourselves. Never forgive those who wronged us. But at the same time, savor every droplet of pleasure we could squeeze from our bleak days. So, speaking of Regongar, what's going on there? Octavia shrugs awkwardly. We're together, she answers simply. The way you said we're together sounded unconvincing. Is something wrong? You've noticed. Well, I didn't mean that. Now I'll have to explain. Octavia shakes her head. I'm not sure I know how to put it correctly. You see, Reg seems to treat me like his property. He's always kind to me, and it feels good when we travel together or when we share a blanket at the campsite, but he always calls me my Octavia. I've told him over and over that I don't belong to anyone, that I'm my own, that I stay with him by my own free will. He only grins when I say that. I bet he likes to think that I'm his. Never mind, though. I'll sort it out somehow. Octavia shakes her head, making the troubling thoughts go away. When did you meet? Years ago, when I was studying magic at Maestro Janush's. Reg was his student too, though you couldn't actually say he was really studying anything. Reg had his own ways to cast spells. He never needed the Maestro's instructions. You see, unlike wizards, Reg draws power directly from his innate bloodline abilities. Janush didn't realize the nature of Reg's powers when he took the young boy as his new student, and when he finally understood them, he just taught the negligent half-orc to control his powers, to avoid harming himself or the others. Reg and I have been together ever since. We could both use magic, but more importantly, we both craved freedom. We used to vow to each other that someday we'd break free from the unbearable captivity or die trying. Together. Octavia gives you a warm smile. I guess it's good that we fulfilled only the first part of that vow, and the fact that he's so impulsive, that doesn't bother you? That is a very delicate matter. Octavia winces, looking away. Reg means a lot to me, and he endured a lot for me. But some parts of him just scare me. He becomes extremely bloodthirsty when it comes to slavers. Don't get me wrong, I hate slavers with all my heart, and I'll do a lot to cleanse the world of their filth. But Reg, he'd do anything. Understand? Absolutely anything. I'm afraid that anger might kill everything good in him. I've attempted to talk to him about it many times, but he just won't listen. He becomes even angrier after our conversations. Octavia sighs sadly. Do you owe him a lot? Octavia winces. I don't like this "owe" word. I don't owe anything to anybody. Everything I do of my own free will. But to answer your question, yes, Reg has done a lot for me. I can't count how many times he was whipped by masters because of me, how many times he took the blame for my doings. He never complained when they dragged him, beaten and covered in blood, to the slave barracks. He just groaned and clenched his fists while I bandaged his wounds with the scraps of my filthy clothing. We've always been together, my whole life, as slaves and as free people. I wouldn't be me if not for him. Alright, so why do you want to find the Technic League agents? I broke free from slavery. Thanks to you, I've obtained everything I dreamed of. My freedom and the opportunity to control my own life. I want to use the opportunity to fight the Technic League. At least the part of it that operates here in the Stolen Lands. I wish to free all the slaves from their Technic League masters. Octavia gives you a warm smile and gently touches your hand. I do believe that while we're together, we can achieve a lot. Even this. Good. What do you want? Have a little chat? Alright, it's not like we have anything better to do. Tell me about yourself. What's there to know? I was born, I'm alive, haven't died yet. Is that enough for you? No. No, it is not. Tell me about your tattoos, Chief. They are magical. They help me control my powers. The Technic League gave them to me. I'd hoped that somewhere in my body there was at least one sign left of my tribe, but no. I guess they didn't care to bother. To hell with them. They better hope I never find him. If I ever meet my father, I will even the score between us. Do you remember your childhood? Regongar scowls. What a crap question. I was just a kid when they sold me. Before that, I don't remember much. Smoky fires, stinky hides, always bumping along on a horse. I think I was born in one of the Kellid tribes of Numeria. There are many. Some survive on their own, some give up their pride and serve the Technic League. I guess mine was one of the cowards, if they sold their own kids. I remember my father's hands. Rough, scarred, white. So I guess I get this green skin from my mother. But I don't remember her. I think I remember playing with another half-orc child. A brother, maybe. For some reason they didn't sell him, just me. Father gave him his dagger to play with. Never gave it to me. Ugh, I don't want to remember. Forget all this, I'm an orphan. Regongar waves his hand wryly. I grew up a slave. That I remember well. So many things burned into my memory. Most of all, I remember her, my Octavia. Today, we are almost the same age, but back then she was twice as young as me, just a child, but a brave one. Cunning, bold, and beautiful. The most beautiful girl in the world. Who do you worship? I never got much help from the gods so far, but if you make me choose, I'd say Calistria. Who else could I worship? The savored sting, the goddess of pleasure, fun, and revenge. Oh, yes. So where do you get your magical powers? What magical powers? The hells are you talking about? Oh, you mean these. Regongar makes lightning run over his hands with a contented smile, then snaps his fingers, invoking a shower of blinding sparks. I've had them since I was born. At least one thing I can thank my scum parents for. Maybe these powers are why they sold me to slavery. Think they were scared? Who knows? Damn Numerians. At the Technic League, they drew my blood, did experiments, burned me with fire, tortured me with cold, electricity, and they told me, you won't believe it, they told me I have blue dragon blood in my veins. Not bad, huh? I'm a dragon, you freaks. Come check my blood if you dare. Grinning, Regongar strikes his palm with a fist, and another fountain of electric sparks shoots upwards. Is that how you manage to use both a sword and magic and not cut your fingers off? It's simple. I'm just that bloody good. The half-orc gives a contented grin. Do you enjoy making people suffer? Why should I care about their suffering? I do what I want. If I step on someone's toes, then they shouldn't have put themselves in my way. But chasing someone down just to torture them? That's only entertainment for maniacs like the Technic League. Well, on second thought, for them, I would make an exception. I'd love to watch as I fry them nice and slow. But why do you ask? Do my methods shock you? Regongar clenches his fist, buzzing with sparks, and laughs loudly at his joke. Yeah, I mean, hell, you're right. If they get in your way, do what you gotta do. That's what I say. There's too many freaks who don't understand just asking to be run through with the sword. Sometimes I'm casting a spell, looking at another fool, thinking, you idiot, what the hell are you doing? You'd still be alive if you weren't standing in my way. None of this had to happen. And then, bam, they're dead, and I have to clean some more blood from my shirt. Well, thank you for your answers. Thanks don't fill a purse. Ha, just kidding. Okay. Tell me about Numeria. You mean my life as a slave? I didn't see much except for the slave barracks and the League's twisted laboratories. How'd you become a slave? I was sold by my own tribe when I was just a little brat. The half-orc clenches his teeth, then spits on the ground and steps on it with his boot. So I grew up in a slave barracks. I was raised to be sold like a battle animal. They tried to break me, but they picked the wrong brat. No matter how much you beat this animal, he only gets angrier. The half-orc punches himself in the chest and snarls. So why did your masters teach you magic? Can't you guess? Because magic is in my blood. It's why they bought me. I wasn't raised as some lowly mop slave, but as a murder machine. I'd fetch quite a nice sum of gold. You might also ask if they knew I'd take the first opportunity to rip their own guts out, using everything they taught me. Ha! Of course they did. But that's the Technic League. They calculate risk. Octavia kept pretending to be simple-minded, so they wouldn't expect anything of her. But I made every effort, though they didn't teach me much. What is there to teach? It's not book magic, it's innate. They made me practice with my sword more, but I did my best in everything. I studied all I could. They knew they were raising an enemy, but they thought they could keep me on a short leash, or sell me to someone with deep pockets, so I'd become someone else's problem. But who won in the end, huh? Who is free? Who will bury them all? The half-orc makes an obscene gesture in the northwestern direction, toward Numeria. So you and Octavia tried to escape. What do you think? Of course we tried. I stopped counting how many times. Jumped from windows, dug tunnels, choked out guards, or seduced them. That happened too. Caught us every time. Every bloody time. My back is covered with whip scars. Luckily, we were prized property. They'd spent too much gold on us to kill us. Anyone else would be hung and forgotten. But they kept trying to break us and recoup their expenses. I don't know whether I could have survived by sheer stubbornness if it weren't for Octavia. I probably couldn't have. I would have just given up and died. But I had to pull my girl out of that meat grinder. and she believed in me, and had enough hope for the both of us. When I lay there with my back slashed to pieces, she whispered to me about the River Kingdoms, where there's no slavery, where everyone can go wherever they want, and take whatever they want. I'll be damned, but I thought she was just making this up to keep our hopes alive, and now it turns out to be true. All of it, every last word. No chains, no slaves, no laws, just live and be happy. I mean, I know it's not, but I'm curious about your perspective on slavery in Numeria. Sometimes it's legal, sometimes it's not. There are some laws against it, but even in Starfall, a third of the people live in bondage. And that's the capital. In regions where the Black Sovereign's hand doesn't reach, they hold to tribal customs instead of laws. The barbarians don't keep slaves. Instead, they have thralls. Big bloody difference. And on top of all that mess, there's the Technic League. Law and custom mean nothing to those slime balls. They just take whatever and whoever they want. What else did you see beyond your life in chains? What could I have seen? Well, when we ran, we went through Starfall. That's a fine city. Big, loud, many merchants, things to see, things to steal. But I didn't have much chance to walk around. It's the very nest of the sodding Technic League. We were focused more on getting out alive. We met some barbarians. I asked them who might know what tribe I'm from, but they didn't know anything. I don't have any tribal tattoos. Nothing. Actually, they are all right. Well, some of them. The Blood Pikes, for one, they're great. All the rivers are theirs. We sailed with them during one of our escapes, almost all the way to Brevoy, and they didn't turn us in. But the White Scars got us after that. Those guys are shit. They've sold their pride to the Technic League. Oh, one more thing. One time, Octavia and I tried to escape and stumbled across a Numerian monster. I'll never forget it. A huge spider the size of a house, made of metal, spitting fire, shooting deadly rays all around. That thing could probably tear even a dragon to pieces. Ruined our escape plans, too. We had to go back. Speaking of, Octavia, tell me about your relationship. Well, my Octavia and I don't have a relationship. We have a life together. She doesn't seem to like it when you call her yours. My girl loves freedom so much, and even a slight chance of losing it frightens her. She's so smart. You really think she feels like I'm trying to make her mine? Like an apple stolen at a market? Me, who was skinned alive for trying to help her escape. If she's afraid of the word my, it's because she doesn't understand the difference between my boots and my heart. But she will understand, sooner or later. Are you two faithful to each other? Octavia and I are connected, and this connection cannot be broken. We grew into each other, you know? Jealousy is for weak cowards who don't trust each other and are scared of being tricked. If a knight on the side threatens your love, that just means there was no real love there to begin with. She and I are together, to the end, and we will never part from each other. So when she likes some lad or some lass, it's no drama to me. I just ask her whether she wants me to leave them alone or join in. And she does the same. What, are you judging us? Or maybe you just want to join us in our tent, hmm? The half-orc grins. Not here to judge, just curious. You asked, I answered. When you pry into others' lives, don't be surprised if you find something that will keep you up at night. And how did you meet? Back when we were children, we were taken as apprentices by a great spellmaster, Janush. Maestro Janush, he called himself. He was our teacher. Well, he made Octavia read books and memorize spells. I have my own innate magic. He trained me a bit, taught me how to control my gifts, so I wouldn't lose control and incinerate myself like a dumbass. Oh, teacher, we will meet again. There's one more test I must pass. But you were asking about my Octavia. We've been together all our lives. We learned everything together. How to weave magic, and how to survive. And as we grew older, we learned how to love. Without each other, we would never have gotten out of there. That's for sure. We would have given up and surrendered to death. But together, it's a very, very different story. Not the first time, and not the 10th, but eventually, we made it out. Speaking of, what did you say when you were killing Kalana? What? Oh, that. Callistria's holy words. I stab thee with my heart. We say that when we get our vengeance. Those words make it so much sweeter. I should get going. So long. If you want to know anything else, just ask. Don't be shy. Just don't go pale when I answer. guess I appreciate his honesty. It's nice to see representation in video games. All right. So what now? Hour and a half of reading in. Throat is killing me. Shrike River. This crosses the Shrike River. So I think we're gonna go there next as part of that main quest. And then we can head left over to the old Sycamore. I think that sounds like a plan. Decent sized area too. Ooh. Okay. It appears these posts once held a rope bridge. 5 coins to cross the river. The small house burnt down a dozen years ago. Okay. I guess no one can pick it. Oop. The corpse's face is bloated from being so long in the water. The stench from its toothless mouth is so foul that your eyes begin to water. The hand clenching a sinister-looking spear is covered with scabs. Suddenly, you feel faint, as if a cold, wet hand is placed heavy on top of your head. Wet hair sticks to skin, and trickles of icy cold water run down your face and shirt. A hoarse whisper rises inside your head. There you are. I sense evil, but not evil committed by this poor soul, no. He arose on some account of evil done to him. Was it you who sent me those nightmares? Gurgling, deep-chested laughter pierces your skull, clouding your vision and flooding your ears. All else becomes muffled, as if you are trapped underwater. You shake your head to cast off the apparition. Who are you? Davik Nettle. A storm of bright images flashes before your eyes. A long time ago, this person, then a living man, came here from Bavoy, constructed a rope bridge, built a house, and lived in it, collecting payment from those who crossed the river. How did you die? You see a vision of a lovely spring day. Sunbeams shine warm against your cheeks. 3 men approach the house by the bridge, one of them wearing an antlered helm. The Stag Lord. Angry faces, a quarrel, the glint of an unsheathed sword. Suddenly, the Stag Lord's greedy eyes are twisted by surprise. The master of the house has unleashed his hounds. A burning smell stirs you awake to the sound of loud barking. Flames are crawling up the walls. The sound of breaking glass, the bitter cold night air. You are outside the house, and something is wrong. An arrow strikes deep in your shoulder. You hear the guffaw of 10 throats. You run, already in the middle of the bridge. The man in the antlered helm cuts one of the ropes. An ear-splitting scream fills the air. What do you want from me? You see a vision of a man wearing an antlered helm. You hear a muffled groan, and the helm drops to the ground with a loud thud. Your hands are covered with hot blood. Too much blood. Death to the Stag Lord. Don't you hate it when someone asks you to do something you were going to do anyway? It makes me want to do nothing just to spite them. It's the wrong time for that, Lindsay. Shush. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna do it anyway, guy. The drowned man, who'd been sitting motionless, nods his head. Come later. Take the spear. What spear are you talking about? The one sending us those nightmares was Davik Nettle, formerly a ferryman, now a creepy corpse eager to get revenge upon the Stag Lord. That's why we came in the first place, to end the bandit's atrocities. So there was no need to spook us with bad dreams. Well, at least now we won't just be pacifying the region, we'll also be helping the poor soul find rest. I don't know what spear he's talking about, and we cannot cross the river. So... good. Alright, glad I came here, I guess. Let's see what else there is to do. Old Sycamore?
Greetings.
Oh, hey, this guy again. Kesten Garess, the former captain of Jamandi Eldori's personal guards, nods to you, as though you'd seen each other in Restov only yesterday. He limps noticeably, and his clothes are stained with blood, and looks every bit as grim and focused as when you first met. But this time, you also sense a hint of excitement in his eyes.
I have urgent news from Restov. The investigation that I have conducted at Lady Jamandi's orders have proved your innocence. Tartuccio was and still is the Pataxian spy. That dreadful night, it was him who had opened the gate and let the assassins in. It appears that he had planned to gain the barony and Eldori's support, only to later place these lands under the command of his true patron. King Iravetti is no stranger to intrigue, and likes to use others to do his dirty work. Anyway, Lady Jamandi sends her apologies.
Kesten winces. Well, About time, I guess.
Lady Jamande ordered me to capture Tartuccio. We were following his trail when that damned mist fell. First, we entirely lost our way, and then stumbled right into a bandit ambush. Alas, nearly all my people were wounded and can go no further. And so I am here asking for your aid. I'll point out on the map where Tartuccio is supposed to be. Bring that scum to Oleg's trading post, dead or alive. Restov will not forget this favor.
How did Tartuccio manage to fool you?
That sly bastard has caused us no little trouble, that's for sure. When he showed up in Restov and announced he was going to join the expedition, nobody suspected a thing. Yes, a gnome, yes, a sorcerer, but so what? Even after that terrible night, some of my people were willing to bet money on you being the spy. His overconfidence was his downfall. Tartuccio's henchmen, it seems, imagined they could safely meet with Pataxian spies in the town's seedy underbelly. But Restov is the ancestral home of the Eldori, and Lady Jamande is respected not only by the aristocracy and the common folk, but also by those on the other side of the law. We received a message from the slums. A good friend, who wished to remain anonymous, suggested the Sword Lords take a closer look at a certain guest from Patax. Jamande immediately sent for me and ordered me to capture the spy, all very quietly, of course. He told us everything, and not only about Tartuccio. I doubt that Iravetti was pleased to hear of his agent's failure.
A nasty grin crosses Creston's face. But what can a Pataxian spy hope to find in the Stolen Lands?
Pataxian spies are much like magpies. They'll grab anything that catches their eye. Information, treasure, artifacts. This time King Iravetti had a chance to seize the entire Stolen Lands region, and at the Eldori's expense. I'll give you some advice for the future. Be wary of the Pataxian king. He's truly a snake of a man.
So you're a noble, right? Garess is the name of a noble house in Brevoy, is it not?
Used to be. It's only a name now, nothing more. The House Garess are a noble family in Brevoy. They own several mines in the Galushkin Mountains. My father Evan is cousin to Lord Howland Garess, but he's my father no longer.
Creston cringes as if he'd bitten a sour fruit and frowns.
In any case, I brought shame upon my name and was punished accordingly. The family disowned me. I fled to Restov and took up the life of a simple mercenary, until I received an assignment here in the Stolen Lands.
Will you tell me why you were exiled? Yeah, I mean, you've asked me a favor. I think you owe me that explanation at least.
Fair enough. For a Garess, the prosperity of the house and the honor of the name stands above all else, and I was betrothed to a widow from another noble house. This union was of great importance to the family. However, 3 months before the wedding, I met a commoner girl, gentle and pure, and we fell in love. I would have rather died than leave my Tanya, so I decided to break off the engagement with my noble bride. I could never have expected what would follow. My father was furious. I'd set a pointless love affair above the interests of the house. He expelled me from the family and ordered to leave our lands under threat of death. And Tanya, her mother was seriously ill, and she stayed behind to care for her rather than follow me into exile. Thus, I was on my own, disgraced, without a name, and without love.
A shadow of a smile crosses Keston's face, only to leave it even more grim than before.
Don't imagine that I ask for pity. Everyone gets what they deserve.
I'd say you deserved a better fate, Keston.
What's done is done.
Keston lowers his head. Tell me more about House Garess and your homeland.
Well then, ask away.
Tell me about House Garess.
It is an old and renowned family, one of the most influential in Brevoy. A long time ago, the Garess house entered a pact with the dwarven clan of Golka. This proved to be of great benefit to both parties, and they've supplied the ore for our forges ever since. Lord Howland even took the son of the dwarven leader as his ward. Who would have known where this would lead? The same winter that Brevoy lost the Regarvia dynasty, Howland's only natural son, Bren, went missing in the mountains. Thus, Toval Golka, the Lord's dwarven ward, became heir to House Garess. The lad has it tough, though. Too many believed Howland should have chosen someone of his own blood to be the heir. I would imagine my own father had similar plans for me, but we all know how that went.
The former ruling house of Brevoy, House Rogarvia, was founded by the descendants of Coral the Conqueror and Mirna Rogarvia, daughter of Niko Sertova. Most members of the house disappeared mysteriously in 4699 in an event called the Vanishing. The house built the Ruby Fortress and New Stettin on the shores of Lake Rakel as their stronghold. The Rogarvians were known to be ruthless leaders who did their best to hold Brevoy's disparate houses and factions together. The house's motto is, with sword and flame. Now tell me about your homeland.
House Garess owns a number of valleys and gorges in the Galushkin Mountains. The landscape makes these places easily defensible, and they're rich in ores and everything else the depths of the earth have to offer. It is a place of rare beauty. When I moved to Restov, I couldn't get used to it for a long time. There was nothing but sky between the roofs. No mountain peaks anywhere in sight.
No, we can finish this conversation another time.
As you wish.
Oh. This is a big old area. Lots to see. Including giant frogs. Goddamn, Amiri. Alright. Settle down. Something tells me I'm starting to get a little tougher now. Who's up here? I swear I just saw something highlighted over my name, but apparently not. Got some taters. Taters are always good. What is that? Is it a naga? More frogs. What is that? Oh, it's a duck. Hilarious. Alright, I guess we'll just have to use your bow. Alright. Frogs don't really pose all that much of a challenge. Are you fatigued already, Amir? You are. But only for 11 seconds. Maybe that's a penalty of some kind? Climb up the trunk. Alright. 21 DC. Let's not try that. Ouch. Ooh, another necklace fragment. Sweet. And Restavik Ranger's Broken Arrow. Item once belonged to an ancient Brevin. There's gotta be like a special goods dealer somewhere. A crumpled letter, my dear Kenneth Plamer. With your desire to pursue a new archaeological mission in mind, I spent a few hours in my library today and identified a location worthy of your research. In the northeastern part of the River Kingdoms lies a region called the Stolen Lands. Many antiquities can be found in such places. No doubt an inquisitive researcher would be able to find old coins, significant cultural remnants, and even pieces of artifacts that might be restored. Naturally, you shall require the services of a specialist to evaluate your findings during your travels. There we go. I've no doubt of your ability to recruit such a specialist once you arrive in the Stolen Lands. Such contacts can typically be made in large cities or settlements. You would not want your return journey encumbered with items of scant value or interest after all. Before you set off, it is my obligation to warn you that this place is untamed and can be perilous. Watch not only for bandits and monsters, but also impassable swamps and dangerous open plains. Should you decide to visit the Stolen Lands, I strongly urge you, Kenneth, to hire a professional guide, and better yet, guards. It is wise to take precautions. I should appreciate it greatly if you return with a few amusing curiosities for me as a token of our friendship. Your true friend, Agneth Bregan. Okay, so you can recruit someone. Good. Let's go fuck up some tatzelworms. Those are not Naga. No idea what these things are. Ooh, they attack 3 times though. Don't like them. Okay, they're not all that strong. Thank you so much for the hydrate. Kill these things before they even had a chance to act. Overgrown passage. Well, that was a lot of experience for that. Hell yeah. These bandits are already dead. That one was a necromancer. Unidentified leather item. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of thylacines. Oh, they're not all that strong. Not strong at all, okay? Alright. Spot is huge. Well, I gotta try. Hide it, Queen Bada, never find. Treasure heavy. What are these things? Oh, okay. They're mites. That poor thing. Oh. Oh, well, that's also locked already. Okay, well. Gotta remember that one now. Dang, Lindsay. To do, but I'll take it. Kill us some more elk, more thylacines. Good God, there's so many of them. Those wolves. Yep, those are gonna be a little tougher. Maybe not. Hey, Dre. Lost everything. Man, oh man. Hope you had a good weekend, bud. Now I'm just killing a bunch of wild animals, which feels weird. And then there's this kobold. These... I need these. Oh, there's a lot of kobolds. Are they all just sleeping? What the hell's going on here? A kobold lying in the middle of the patch calls out to you. Judging by the sorry state of his scales, he is the eldest of the group. His red eyes squint from the light, and his throat struggles to form words. Our patch. are celestial radish. Yick, radishes. We grew them back in my village. One day, while I was reading a book, my pa grabbed it from me and threw it into the fire. Then he made me go pick radishes. It was autumn, and the ground was wet and cold, and there were worms everywhere. Ah, filthy roots. What are you doing here? Chew the radish. Search for secret truth. Small and big. The kobolds who are lying nearby answer with a devout murmur. At least those who aren't sleeping. Little philosophers, aren't they? Wouldn't expect that. Wouldn't expect. What is happening here? Yeah, about that radish. The oldest kobold lifts its head from the ground and tries to focus his eyes on you. Look, there are enough radishes for everyone. Can I just take some? I mean, you can't forbid others from using what grows freely in the forest. Kobold find. Kobold dig. Kobold chew. Stranger, stop drool. The kobolds make harsh hissing sounds, some rolling around on their backs and grabbing their snouts with their fists. It seems that they are giggling. I don't need all of it. I'll leave half of what I dig out for you. Kobolds stop talking, surprised. Their leader's eyes light up with curiosity. Good deal. Okay. Just gonna leave now. Thank you for your... Okay. Delay your turn. Fuck is that? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna save. And we're gonna fight whatever this thing is. This might be a terrible idea. But look at it. It is a plant. Shambling mounds, also called shamblers, appear to be heaps of rotting vegetation. They are actually intelligent carnivorous plants with a fondness of elf flesh in particular. What serve as a shambler's brain and sensory organs are located in its upper body. Shambling mounds typically have an 8-foot girth and stand between 6 and 9 feet tall. They weigh about 3,800 pounds. Shambling mounds are strange creatures, more akin to animate tangles of creeping parasitic vines than single-rooted plants. They are omnivorous, able to draw their sustenance from nearly anything, wrapping their creepers around living trees to draw forth the sap, sending rootlets into the soil to absorb raw nutrients or consuming flesh and bone from crushed prey. Shamblers are frighteningly stealthy in their native environments. Blending in with the surrounding terrain, they can lie in wait for days on end without moving, waiting patiently for a potential meal. A shambler could be almost anywhere, anytime, attacking without warning and not caring whether it leaves any survivors, so long as it acquires its next meal. Shambling mounds normally lead a solitary nomadic existences in deep forests and fetid swamps, although they can also be found underground, living among damp fungal thickets. Disturbing rumors persist, however, of shamblers gathering in strange congregations around great earthen mounds in the depths of marshes and jungles, often during the height of violent electrical storms. Their reasons for doing so are unknown, and many sages have wondered whether there is some obscure and alien purpose at work. Let's go. Well, I keep missing, so not off to a great start. Definitely not off to a good start. Okay, I've missed every single attack. There we go. There we go. Okay. Just took out Harem in a single hit. So... yeah.
Magritio, Turinos.
Ooh, that was a good hit. That was a bad idea. Tristian suffered a crippling wound in the battle. I wish I knew what that said. Characters at the death's door and escaped a deadly blow only by sheer luck. If their hit points fall below their negative constitution score again, then they will truly die. This condition can be removed by visiting a healer at the capital or by greater restoration. Oh gosh, okay. Heard, so don't fuck around with those things. Got it. The body of a woman fouled beyond recognition, her fingers still clench a torn leather leash. Went into the woods, found many roots, pine cones, flowers, and a dead squirrel. Scant little I can make of that. I must consider where I might gain rarer ingredients for my experiments. Some damnable raccoons got into the hut while I was exploring the woods, broke all the glassware. The only things left are 10 flat-bottom glass tubes, 5 round-bottom flasks, a couple of porcelain mortars, 3 pestles, and the precious spiral. A good thing all the pots are still there. So many good chemicals wasted. Shame. Need to lock everything up in the closet. Tried to finish the experiment today, the one I started at the old lab. Used the lead powder from the master's box. At the crystallization stage, the liquid foamed, changed color, and formed a deposit. Another unsuccessful experiment, and have all but exhausted my supply of essential materials. Caught a raccoon with a snare trap. Didn't get the bastard to the hut in time. Perhaps I should ask some hunters for help in catching experimental subjects. But I must save money, and besides, I see how these bumpkins scowl at me, as if I've grown horns. Third attempt at the crystallization experiment. Broke the last round-bottom flask. I recall my tutor telling me ham-handed and making me clean up. Perhaps he was right, but he did teach me much, despite everything. But why didn't he wish me to develop my abilities? Didn't he want me to learn anything beyond the basic potion recipes? Kept saying I wasn't ready, but in truth, he feared the student surpassing the teacher, and for good reason. I shall prove this process works. I'll prove it to everyone. Today an old lady came from the nearby village, asking me to make her goats yield more milk. I had to help. I'm in desperate need of money. Oh, why must I spend my time so... boring, boring, boring. Several pages remain empty. Then the writings continue. Observation day 1. Finally, I got a chance I can't miss. I found a dying elf in the woods. She was barely breathing and ants were swarming all over her. Who is she? What happened to her? It matters not. This is the opportunity I've been waiting for. With great effort, I managed to drag her to the hut, remove her clothes, and hide her behind the bags in the corner. Enough wasting my talents on trifles. It's time for action. Used the largest glass tube from the master's box, the one with the warning. In case of contact with skin, wash off immediately. Ha! The doddering parrot of all the standard warnings. I spread it evenly over her body, and began my observations. Observation day 3. The subject has survived. Had to tie her up and gag her. The moaning could attract unwanted attention. Her skin is changing, but it's hard to determine the precise character of these changes. The early stages of festering, perhaps. The treated areas do smell faintly. Observation day 5. The changes continue, faster and faster. The epidermis has festered away. The joints are grown swollen, tough and calloused, and the subject has a fever. Observation day 9. Over the past few days, the subject's legs became covered with mildew and moss. Her fingers and toes grow long and crooked, as though she would grow into the ground. I shall move the subject outside. The experiment now demands sunlight. Observation day 13. The body's changes are so significant it's impossible to recall the creature's original appearance from the way it looks now. A seething growth covers the whole body's surface. Every day I find new kinds of moss, mildew, grass, and other plants. The subject attempts to move. Had to immobilize her. I tried to make contact, but she utters inarticulate sounds, alike to howling. Might intelligence be restored at further stage of regeneration? Observation Day 18. The subject has now grown larger, several times. She is now strangely quiet these last few days. I'm beginning to worry. In the end, I see I've become attached to her. She will make me famous. Day 25. My living experiment shows all signs of obedience. She is much like a little tree, a magnificent walking tree. She is already 8 feet tall, and the child keeps growing. I wish to give her space, more fresh air and sunlight. I suspect we will need some fertilizer. For now, I only walk her around the woods on a leash. This is the greatest achievement of my career. Soon, we'll be ready for a journey to Absalom, and there I will present my masterpiece. I must think of a name for my girl. Okay. I wonder if that was the shambling mound that I just killed. That girl. It's like watching The Fellowship. Oh. Megaloceros? What the fuck is that? Okay. Somehow that caused a battle? You know what? That's fine. It's not like I wasn't gonna do that anyways. Oh, these are tough elk. Ooh, I don't like you. Come on. Okay. Oh, come on. Jesus. All right. Huh. Gross. Eventually. Alright, quite what I expected. I feel like I should take a minute and rest here. Can't camp when enemies are nearby. Okay, got some wolves. Let's go take care of them. Gosh, so many of them. Damn, Amiri. that is an exit. That's worst case scenario. I can do that, I guess. Or that'll work. Okay, we're gonna have you do the blessing and have you aid in perception. Hey, Tuck. Welcome in, buddy. How you doing? What do you guys all have on your sheet? What is that? Rain. -6 penalty on perception checks and a 20% chance to miss on all ranged attacks. Wow. Okay. The beast before you was unusually large, and its eyes especially angry. Its menacing grin might almost be taken for a smirk. The wolf is talking to me. Greetings, traveler. Before you draw your weapon, I wish to say I see no reason for feuding between us. We might even be of some use to each other. Wait, why is this wolf talking? Is it magical or something? I am no wolf, female. I am a warg. Surprising you could live to your age without learning the difference. Well, it's never too late to teach a lesson to an insolent two-legged morsel. The beast slowly licks its teeth. You are you calling a morsel, you pelt? Amiri glares at the beast, her hand on her sword. You say we could be useful to each other. Bring me someone delicious. 3 or 4 bodies will be enough, and I, as a sign of gratitude, will tell you where an old traveler buried his chest. Ooh, nah, not interested. Well, as you wish, but consider my offer. You may yet think of something. I wonder if he would eat kobolds. Am I okay with feeding kobolds to a warg? I have to go and leave him alone for now. Right? Oh, that was the wrong. I thought that was Amiri. Oh, got some quickness. No, don't want to attack. Okay. Did my rest ever really finish? Or was I interrupted? Because some of my spells didn't recharge. I healed, though. Got some mites. Shit ton of thylacines. buddy. Gerard Mayo is not their head coach. He actually, the name kind of rings a bell. Probably heard it at one point. Or maybe I just really like mayonnaise. Definitely one of those. I'm all about the dad jokes tonight, baby. Mayonnaise is very good. It's true. So many locks that I can't pick. There are enough supplies to encamp once. The dead man's face is set in the mask of terror. The body is covered with burns. I was proud of that one. Oh. So I shouldn't have rested there. Oh, dear God. Every trapper and bog farmer living near marshes or swamps has his own name for these faintly glowing balls of light. Jack-o'-lanterns, corpse candles, walking fires, pine lights, spook lights, rush lights, but all recognize them as dangerous predators and false guides in the darkness. Evil creatures that feed on the strong psychic emanations of terrified creatures. Will-o'-wisps delight in tempting gullible travelers into dangerous situations in the wild lands where they're most common. Will-o'-wisps favor simple tactics like positioning themselves over cliffs or quicksand where they can easily be mistaken for lanterns, especially if they can set their traps near actual signal lanterns, allowing them to lure unwary travelers into perilous situations. On rare occasions, will-o'-wisps seeking easier pickings will move into a city and take up residence near gallows or follow along invisibly behind an army in order to harvest the fear of the dying men. Why the vast majority choose to remain in the swamps where victims are scarce remains a mystery. Will-o'-wisps only use their electric shock ability under extreme duress, preferring to let other creatures or hazards claim their victims while they float nearby and feast. Will-o'-wisps can glow any color they choose, but are most frequently yellow, white, green, or blue. They can even vary their luminosity to create patterns. Many will-o'-wisps are fond of creating vague, skull-like shapes in their glow to further terrify their victims. Their actual bodies are barely visible globes of translucent, spongy material, 1 foot across and weighing 3 pounds, capable of emitting light from every surface. A will-o'-wisp's light is approximately as bright as a torch, and though they do not seem to use sound to communicate with each other, they hear perfectly and can vibrate their bodies rapidly to simulate speech. While vilified by most other sentient creatures, will-o'-wisps are actually quite intelligent, if utterly alien in their reasoning. Sometimes organized into groups called strings, their society and goals remain complete unknowns to outsiders, as do their origins, though they have sometimes been known to strike bargains with those who can offer them vast quantities of appropriately frightened victims. As will-o'-wisps do not age, and are effectively immortal unless killed by violence, particularly ancient will-o'-wisps can serve as fantastic repositories of knowledge from the ancient past, although convincing one of these cruel creatures to cooperate with an interrogation can be a trick in and of itself. Gosh dang. That's not what I meant to do. Damn it.
Aboran, Zentes.
Efno.
Oh, I guess he's scared. And now he's dead. Off to a great start here. Man. You're still scared, huh? Yeah. He's still scared.
No.
This thing might kill me. I can't get close enough to it to do anything.
No.
Is it going to do that every turn? Because that's ridiculous. Yes, that's what I need. Gosh. They're all scared. Okay, good. You can't do anything. Hey, Seth, how you doing tonight? Everyone, go say hello to my good buddy Seth the Sore, who celebrated 100 freaking followers yesterday with a 13-hour bananas stream. Absolute silliness. How did that go yesterday, my friend? Okay, that's 2 dead. I think I might just reload this, because they're just going to keep running away. I can't hit him at range. I'm not even coming close. I don't think I've touched him once. Yeah, he's uninjured still. I can't roll higher than a 5 to hit him. It's wild. And now everyone's scared again. Hey, I hit him for 1. 1 whole point of damage. Yeah, this thing is way overpowered for me right now. Oh, that's annoying. So my 2 options are repeat half of this area or get my ass kicked by this thing continuously. Great. All right, we'll try fighting it one more time. We get it in here. You're afraid of everything. Oh, good. Okay. So yeah, like I said, my options are either continuously get my ass kicked or lose about a half an hour of the game. So I guess I'm going to lose out at a half an hour of the game, but it is what it is. Moving on. It's past 1 AM anyway, so it's a good place to call it for the night. I mean, luckily all of this was just killing random creatures, so I can do that again fairly quickly tomorrow. So, well, that was just rude. That was very rude. All right, is what it is. Yeah, we'll try that again tomorrow, and I just will not stay at the that camp, and so we can actually continue with the game. And I'll remember that there's a level 13 freaking enemy thrown into the mix with a bunch of level 4 enemies. Like, what is that? Insanity. But anyways, who are we raiding tonight? Who are we gonna go say hi to? How about Polar? You too, Dark. Or Tuck, everyone. All of my people, everyone, every single person. And yeah, everyone please go say hi to Polar when we get in. He's a great guy, great streamer, hilarious. Check out the YouTube to see our past VODs, including this one, including all the embarrassing moments that I've died in this game. And as well as the Discord, where we have a great community going on. And check out the web. Thank you, Dark, for posting all of those. I appreciate you. And I hope everyone had fun tonight. And I will catch you all next time. And that's it. That's all I got. Premiere tests? What is he doing? What is Polar doing? Dude, I am so confused. Sticky tests? Or I try not to ask questions, guys. Enjoy. Everyone have a great night. Dark, Seth, Tuck, please enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to watch the new episode of Futurama tonight either. Hell yeah.